Yo, YouTube, happy Juneteenth. What's up? Power to the people. All people had the power. You feel me? So, I found some cool stuff to do on this video. So, I'm gonna give y'all the actual talk I gave yesterday. It's very short about Juneteenth, a little bit of history, and where we going now, right? What it means that they've made it into a holiday. So, so what you see right now, this is actually the group that I overhead at my school. It's called Rasmus Sees, Students Seeking Equity and Success. And one of our students, her name is Miriam. She's an MPS student at the school I go to. She designed the Black Power Fist with the marine animals in it. So that's really dope. So anyway, this is the introductory slide I gave at my talk. So what is Juneteenth? So Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, is a holiday that celebrates the emancipation of all the enslaved people in America. It commemorates June 19th in 1865, when Texas finally freed the last of the enslaved people. Now mind you, this was 3 years after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862, which said black people were free. So what happened back then was that although the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it was hard to enforce. The only way it was able to be enforced is with the Union Army to go down into the Confederate States and force them to free the enslaved black people. And so they would do that. But the thing is, Texas was the furthest away from the Union. So it took the longest to get to Texas in order to free the enslaved black people. But on June 19th, 1865, the Union Army finally marched into Texas. I think it was in Galveston. I'm not too sure, but I think it was in Galveston, Texas, and finally told everybody that that you were no longer enslaved. The black people were so happy that the next year, on the same date, they came together and they celebrated in the same spot that they first heard the news. And it has been celebrated every year since by black people. Now, June 19th, although it is commemorated and celebrated for Juneteenth as Freedom Day, as the day that all black people were free, were no longer enslaved in America, this isn't really true, because there were some Union states, specifically Delaware and Kentucky, who still held slaves up until the end of that year, December 6th, 1865, when the 13th Amendment was finally ratified, abolishing chattel slavery nationwide. So while the Union fought to free the slaves in the Confederate States, honestly, they didn't really care about freeing the slaves because they still held slaves up in the North. So I told you this yesterday. Abraham Lincoln didn't even care about freeing any slaves. He didn't care about freeing the slaves. He just wanted America to stay connected. He was out for power and conquest and land, not about black people's rights. But anyway, back to Juneteenth. So that brings me to what you may or may not know as the Black National Anthem. The song written by James Weldon Johnson in 1900, called Lift Every Voice and Sing. I will play the first verse of this for you now. Now this is a video that you can find on YouTube. This is from the NFL. Now this is not a co-signing for an endorsement for the NFL. I do not watch the NFL. I boycott the NFL. I do not believe in it. It is not something that I am pushing on my channel. But the thing is, I do like this rendition of the song in this slowed down tempo by Alicia Keys. So please enjoy the first verse of the Black National Anthem on Juneteenth.
We go to Arrowhead now for Lift Every Voice and Sing as it's played in the stadium.
At the dawn of the 20th century, America was a country full of promise and hope for many. Black Americans faced a different reality, a nation separate and unequal. Yet their hope persisted. Pained by inequality, but inspired by resilience, writer and civil rights activist James Weldon Johnson put pen to paper. His words would become a unifying call a hope for a brighter tomorrow, a timeless exhortation to lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing a rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory.
There are forces that want to take us back to another place. We don't want to go back. We want to go forward.
Okay, so did you even know there was a black national anthem? A lot of people don't. So the artwork that's in this slide here is a artwork by a black artist named Augusta Savage. This was heavily inspired by Lift Every Voice and Sing, the black national anthem. And the man in the front holding the plaque, on the placard is actually the chords of the song. This was a plaster piece, I believe. It was done for the 1939 New York World's Fair, and after the World's Fair was over, it was demolished. There is no existence of this piece anymore except pictures, because white people, they didn't want to keep it around, I guess, or they didn't have money to save it or anything like that, so they just demolished this iconic piece by Augusta Savage. So that brings me to who celebrates Juneteenth, right? I first learned about Juneteenth when I was doing volunteer work in Duluth, Minnesota. I was volunteering for community action, teaching underprivileged people to get their GED, doing GED classes. But then I also got in with another group that was within the same community action called the Family Freedom School. Now these people used this platform to teach. Their saying was, "We teach unapologetically black," and it was kind of fashioned around the Family Freedom Schools that were during the Red Summer back in Alabama, I believe, and sometime in the '60s. Now I might have my dates wrong and my name's wrong, so don't kill me. But that's what it has fashion to do something about those Family Freedom Schools back during that Red Summer time in the '60s. So I've been celebrating Juneteenth ever since. I have black children, and so I raise my children to be unapologetically black and to love the skin they're in. And so we celebrate Juneteenth every year. And interestingly, this year, just a couple days ago on Wednesday, the Senate unanimously passed a bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday. Now I want to point you to, within this article by CNN, one of the Republicans that was against signing the bill, against making Juneteenth a federal holiday. He later redacted his statement and wanted to make it a federal holiday, but he says that it's circled in red, "I object to the cost of it becoming a holiday. While it seems strange to having taxpayers provide federal employees paid time off is now required to celebrate the end of slavery. Now, are you catching the undertone of that statement? He is saying that he does not want or think it's okay for taxpayers to pay people to take the day off that's ending slavery. Think about that now. This is a holiday celebrating the end of slavery, and he doesn't want to pay people for taking the time off. Sounds to me like he still wants slaves. Anyway, the question that this has brought up in the community is was this a real victory or a symbolic victory? So this was not something that we asked for, making Juneteenth a national holiday. This was not something that was asked for by black people or through the protests of Black Lives Matter or anybody else. This was just a surprise. You got a new holiday, and it's pro-black, right? While that's good in many senses, we have been losing a lot. Think about the real losses we have been encountering, such as the Georgia voter suppression bill, which they call the Election Integrity Act because they want to make it have a nice, nifty sound. But basically what that does is it stops people from giving water to people who are standing in line to vote. It also lowers the amount of time that you can vote on certain on days. So voting times were 7 to 7, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Through work days, but now they're changing it to 9 to 5. That eliminates the time that people who work at that time can go vote. It shortens the time, and some people can't take off to vote. Their employers won't let them, or they'll fire them. And so this is really suppressing a lot of poor people's votes in Georgia. Also, critical race theory, I guess, was being sent around to be the talks about being taught in public schools. Well, that has already been banned. Before it's even been taught, it's been banned in Florida, Arkansas, Idaho, Oklahoma, and there are like almost 12 other states that are considering banning it as well. One person, if you go on the Black Twitter, one person says, if black children are old enough to experience racism, then white children are old enough to learn about it. So these are some real losses that we've been having. Plus the police brutality, the constant murdering by the cops. You know, these are real losses. We're not getting any police reform. We're not getting anything we asked for that we've been marching for and asking for. But what did we get? Boom, Juneteenth becoming a national holiday. So is this a symbolic victory? I don't know. Again, you go back to Black Twitter and you got some people saying gaslighting is making Juneteenth a federal holiday while banning critical race theory in schools, destabilizing COVID mutual aid efforts, refusing to defund and abolish police, and blocking reparations legislation. Go play in someone else's face, America. And then this other person says, MLK Day has been a federal holiday my entire life, and in my lifetime, I've seen Voting Rights Act gutted, a fascist coup attempt, and concerted efforts to undo civil rights movements by the same individuals who commemorate that holiday each year, and who just voted to do the same with Juneteenth. And I really like her last quote where she says, I don't know what it means that the ideological heirs of the slave masters and colonizers want to make Juneteenth a holiday, but I know it doesn't mean they support black freedom. And that was the entirety of the talk that I gave yesterday at the Rasmus Seas meeting. I gave this talk to a predominantly white crowd, and it actually went over very well. They said they learned a lot. We then went into discussion to talk about if it was a symbolic victory or not. A lot of their views are that they had no idea what the hell it was at all, and so even that it is now being, being more public. They say basically, all press is good press. Even if someone talks bad about something, it's still good. So even though this isn't really doing anything sustainable or substantial for black people at the very moment, this is in a lot of white people's face, and they're gonna have to talk about it and deal with it more so. Could cause bad stuff to happen because white fragility is a real thing, but hopefully it'll cause a starting of conversations and continue to push these things. A lot of times we've been saying in the community that we need more black holidays. There isn't any black holidays. The only black holidays we have is like Martin Luther King Day. It's the only federal black holiday that we have. There really aren't any other black holidays. I know Kwanzaa is semi big. I celebrate Kwanzaa with my children in my household. We celebrate Kwanzaa every year. We've been doing that for the last 3 years. But not a lot of people celebrate Kwanzaa. I like to celebrate Malcolm X Day, his birthday, but not a lot of people do that. And so this is actually another black holiday that is a good thing, right? So now there is a federally recognized, you got to get the day off for this black holiday. Blacker than black on black. You feel me? So I'm for it, you know, but I'm also for keeping the foot on the pedal, smashing the gas, not sitting down because this is just a symbolic victory, but actually standing up and saying, look, we got something, now let's go for the gusto. We want the rest of the stuff you've been telling us that we couldn't have. You made this happen, you can make this stuff happen too, so let's go. So that was my Juneteenth spiel for the day. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Before I go, I want to plug someone very important to me. I've been plugging her podcast for a while, Nick Holistic Life, Healing from Within. I always drop a link below so you can check it out when I remember. But she recently just came out with her own website as well. This is amazing. Please go check it out. I went through it today. It actually launched today on Juneteenth. It was very symbolic for her to launch today. It's actually done very well. I checked it out earlier. It's a great read. I read through all the blog posts. She's going to start. She did a blog post about Juneteenth also, and she called out talking about generational curses and saying that America actually has, the world actually has a huge generational curse, and that curse is white supremacy. You know, just take a read on the Juneteenth post. It's really great. I'm gonna drop the link below to the website. She's gonna start doing. She's gonna start selling her courses, and she's gonna actually start doing one-on-one courses with people for weight loss, exercising, and yoga, as well as just learning how to be holistic in your lifestyle, in your eating, in your thinking, in your living. So check her out below. I appreciate y'all tuning in today. Stay safe. Go out there, party your ass off. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you need to do to feel good about yourself. Check your mental health when you need to. And like my aunt would say, stay safe on purpose. I'll catch up with y'all next time. Peace.